want to preempt Mr. Bellamy, but because they are in the nature of overarching comments. Number two is, and then I'll say one other thing on governing procedures. This is fairly unusual. But this is a little bit of an unusual meeting. So I'll ask my colleagues' indulgence in saying a couple of overall comments. Let me begin by saying that I consider Mr. Bellamy both a friend and a colleague. Like many in our community, I was shaken by the revelations of his past internet speech. Mr. Bellamy has repeatedly stated that he regrets his words and rejects such language and thinking. I believe in second chances and our capacity to change and to improve, and I am willing personally to take him at his word and put this in our past. While I reject the content of these communications, I also reject the hatred and outright racism of many of the attacks that we have received against Mr. Bellamy. Such sentiments, while protected by the First Amendment, are injurious to our community, and I'm using my own First Amendment rights now to confront and condemn them. Finally, we have received requests for City Council to remove Mr. Bellamy from office. Before this evening gets going, I must clarify for the entire community that we have no such legal authority. City Code expressly limits the application of such actions to councilors found to conduct, quote, malfeasance or misfeasance in office. Put simply, this is not a power of council. Any decisions, anything going forward is really between Mr. Bellamy and his constituents. We have done a lot of good work on this council. We've got a busy year ahead, and we need to keep working hard to serve the people of Charlottesville. Number three, this is an unrelated matter to this, but I want to address it because it will be coming up on governing procedures. Tonight we're going to hear from several speakers during our Matters by the Public session regarding the new Matters by the Public procedures which were adopted earlier in the year and then were reaffirmed after 6 months, and with a change, which I'll speak about. I know that we're all in this body passionately committed both to public engagement and to the freedom of speech. We also want to get the business of the public done. The goal of the new procedures was to make our meetings as effective, engaging, and as efficient as possible. For instance, we moved work sessions previously held off camera on Thursday nights into the second meeting of each month on camera so people could watch us deliberate. We introduced time limits on agenda items so things didn't run on forever. We put meetings under Robert's Rules of Order, which you will see tonight, so that we debate on motions rather than just talk kind of on and on. We also changed our first Matters by the Public. For over a decade, City Council has had 12 spots for public comment before the meeting and unlimited public comment after the meeting. We wanted to make sure that the slots weren't monopolized by just a few folks who could routinely attend meetings and come early to sign up in the first come, first serve system. Instead, we wanted folks to be able to reserve slots early by stopping by, making a phone call, or sending an email. A couple months ago, we added back 3 in-person signups to further change the system. Well, I often hear from folks who believe the system works well, others do not, and we'll hear from them tonight about this, and I expect other provisions as well. I want to emphasize, however, one thing. We will be hearing tonight from our critics, and that is how it should be and how we want it. Tonight will also show, for better or for worse, how the new system is designed to work. 19 people wanted to sign up in advance. We have had 12 spots for a long, long, long time. Under our new system, we randomly selected tonight 9 of those 19. 3 signed up later, which I have right here. First come, first served. Is this better or worse than if all 19 had showed up first come, first served, and 7 of them couldn't have spoken? I don't know. This is the conversation we're having right now. The underlying issue of this whole issue really depends on whether we have limited or unlimited slots. I expect we will hear folks saying we should go back to the old system, but the old system limited public comment to 12 people. It did so by cutting off anyone who wasn't in line in time. And why is that fair? As I've said, I can see good arguments for doing away with the slots entirely. One option would be to mirror Albemarle County and have unlimited spots for both pre-registration and those who show up at the meeting. The major question then is how to manage the meeting itself. Tonight, for instance, if 20, say, we had 19, but say around that number had signed up, and if they spoke for 3 minutes each, we wouldn't begin. We usually have about half an hour of business before we get started. You all, a lot of folks here are here who don't come to a meeting ordinarily. Hopefully you'll be interested in everything we talk about. We wouldn't begin working on our agenda items until 8:30. That impacts community members, staff who plan on being present in the meeting, presenting to us, but will be inconvenienced by staying until late hours, especially folks with families, especially anyone who depends on public transportation. One option might be to have completely unlimited sign-up. Anybody who signs up ahead of time, anybody who comes can speak. not have 12 spots. But in that case, we really do run into a challenge of starting public business by a late hour. So this is why every public body grapples with the question about how do you make the right choice, and there really is no perfect answer. So trying to get it right. One option might be to go from 3 minutes to 2 minutes if there's more than a given number of signups, say 15. Say 15, we know that some folks wouldn't like it, but it might be a better way of managing the amount of time before the meeting really gets going into the agenda items. So we'll be talking about this. Again, no perfect system. We're trying to get it right. We care a great deal about hearing from the public. I'm eager to work with my colleagues on these and other issues in the new year around the 6-month anniversary of the last time we decided this. So I wanted to say that before we got started. With that said,